You're listening to the Disruptive Franchise Podcast with Stacey Can, the podcast that celebrates innovation in franchising and peeks behind the curtain of failure, success, and the future of the franchise industry. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Disruptive Franchise Podcast. This week, I'm joined by my very special guest, Faye from Daisy First Aid Leeds. Hi, Faye.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on. You were a finalist at the 2025 Disruptive Franchise Awards as Franchisee of the Year. So we thought we'd bring you on and have a chat and find out more about your business and your story behind it. Tell us all about what you do.
Yeah, so I've got Daisy First Aid Leeds, Harrogate and Ripon. So we help parents and families feel a little bit more confident with emergencies, illnesses, anything that might go wrong, basically. We help parents to just feel a bit more prepared for. So we run sessions in venues, we go and do private home classes, which I love doing. And then we also go into schools and nurseries as well and teach all the staff as well. So that's great.
It's a lot of variety, isn't it, with Daisy First Aid? That's what I always love to say.
Yeah, loads. Yeah, so I do actually do first aid at work courses as well now, but really my focus is more the parent stuff and the family stuff.
Yeah. Tell us, because I know this, so I'm going to tell you to tell everybody about it, but what is that feeling when you kind of go into the class and see how nervous everybody is compared to when you leave the class? What's it like?
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know if you saw the story that I did actually on Friday night. I'd been to do a class and it was a private home one. And I arrived, it was a couple and grandparents were there as well. And they were about to prepare for weaning with this 6-month-old baby. First child, first grandchild as well. And you could sense that everyone was a little bit nervous about it. It was exciting, but they were obviously scared about the possibility of choking. And we did the session and I left absolutely buzzing, so buzzing that I had to do a TikTok about it straight away just to say I feel so good about this class that I've just done, because you could see that they felt relieved at the end of it and they were back to being more excited than scared, which is definitely how it should be at the end of the session.
So nice. It's such a key thing, isn't it? Like I remember with mine, like my daughter's 12 now, but that first experience of weaning was terrifying because suddenly I had done everything I could to keep everything out of her mouth. And then suddenly I was like giving her chunks of like pear and it was horrible.
Yeah, and I think it starts off, you're excited about it. And then the closer it gets, the more you start thinking, oh, I'll put it off another week. I'll put it off another week. But you know when they're ready and you know when you're ready to do it. So yeah, you just have to go for it, but definitely do a class before because it is going to give you so much more confidence.
Definitely. I always used to laugh because like my parents or like my family would be around and be, oh no, she's joking. Like, no, she's fine.
Yeah, my mum insisted on pureeing everything for my kids. She was like, I'm not doing any of this baby-led weaning stuff. Absolutely not.
Brilliant. Love it. And it's such an important thing what you do. Tell us a little bit about how you come to be a Daisy First Aid franchisee, because obviously I have the privilege of knowing you outside of the podcast, and I know that you came in and you had 3 territories immediately. So tell us what that was like and how you found out about becoming a franchisee.
Yeah, so it was really random, really, how I ended up being a Daisy First Aid trainer. When I finished school, I did teaching for a little bit. I was a secondary school teacher. Didn't particularly, well, I enjoyed parts of it, but it wasn't quite right. So I left, and we have a family business that is an estate agent. So I started working there, managing that. It was really good. I actually loved the business side of it. But I had my own children and I thought, oh, I feel like I've got a bit stuck now. This isn't really what my plan was to do. And I've ended up doing it. And there's bits that I've enjoyed, but I feel like I want to grow a bit and I want to try something different. So I started looking at opportunities that were out there. And when I'd had Alfie, my eldest, I must have started following Daisy First Aids in Leeds. And it just popped up that Nicola, who was the previous owner, was selling the territory. So I started looking at it and I thought, oh, I'm quite intrigued by this. But I was a little bit nervous because I don't have a medical background. That was kind of the bit that I was thinking, oh, surely, I'm going to need to know a bit more. But anyway, I went and met her for a coffee, gelled with her straight away. She was great. And she said, oh, just have a chat with Jenny and, see what you think. So I had a chat with Jenny and I said, this is my concern. And she was like, don't worry about it. Do not worry about that at all. We can teach you all of that. We will make sure that you are really prepared before you're ready to be delivering classes. And yeah, that's it. Then I decided to go with it and I jumped straight in. I had 3 territories because I bought it as an existing business, like as all as one, I guess, from Nicola. And I had classes lined up from as soon as I did my training, so I had to get up to speed. But I quite like the challenge, to be honest, and I am quite prepared. So there was no way that I was going to start doing it until I'd got everything ticked off. And then I have since started volunteering as a community first responder. So that's given me some real life experience, which is lovely to have, and just to have experienced it on the front line, going into a situation where you don't know what you're going to expect.
That's amazing, Faye. What a journey. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, there's so much to unpick in that. How does it feel now to be having been nervous about the first aid stuff to now you go in and actually deal with real life emergencies as a first responder? What's that like?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I still get a little bit nervous when I get, when you're on call, you have a phone, and if someone phones 999, if it's a category 1 or category 2, we might get sent out. And the phone goes off and it's like a siren that starts going off in wherever you are, in the kitchen or in the living room. You sort of jump because you're like, oh, right, I've got a call. But you have all the kit bag, and there's a sheet that you fill in, and you're on your own, which made me feel quite vulnerable at the start. I think a bit of a confidence thing, I guess. But now I've got into the swing of it. It's good, and you meet so many people, and it's really lovely to be there. Often you'll end up as a first responder sort of supporting the families a lot, because the paramedics will arrive shortly after you, especially if it's a real category 1, and then you can sometimes be left sort of talking to the family and just helping them to process what's happened. So that's really nice, and I feel like I really excel in that area. That's probably more of a comfort zone for me, but it's good for me to push out my boundaries, and it's nice to have some kind of real life stories as well to talk about.
It's an incredible thing to do. It really is. And it's amazing, isn't it? Like I always talk about Daisy First Aid, like we save lives. We really do save lives. And you get this feeling of, I don't know, I guess it's pride, but it's an enormous sense of pride about what we do.
Yeah.
And then to see like franchisees like yourself go on and have that first-hand experience out in the wild is also amazing, because it's experience that you can't get that in the training room, can you? And I think it's brilliant about people that have got that hands-on. Like I never had any hands-on experience when I joined Daisy First Aid. Like I was in sport, completely different. And like you, I was very nervous about I know enough. But I think within any kind of franchise context, it's all about bringing in the right people, because you can teach the right people the skills that they need. But to have that first-hand experience and then take that into the training room, what's that done for you as a business owner?
Yeah, I think it makes me a lot more confident, and it also sort of changes sometimes how I will teach things a little bit differently. So, even with the primary survey, for example, if you're teaching somebody the primary survey, I now will always make sure that I say, it won't always follow this exact pattern. You do have to be a bit more adaptable with it, but just keep this in your mind and you can keep coming back to it, so that if you do get distracted with something, if there is something that is life-threatening that comes about that you have to deal with, you then can go back to your primary survey. Right, what else did I need to check? So I definitely think that it's helped me in terms of my confidence, but also just trying to explain in a real life situation more how you're going to be feeling, and maybe things aren't going to go quite as to plan as they do in a classroom when you've got a mannequin and it's not going to do anything, it's just going to follow what you want it to.
My bodily fluids coming out of that mannequin.
It shows that the training really does work, because I've had instances where I've taught people, and then I've had 2 actually where I've been told that they have actually had to use their skills in a real life situation where somebody isn't breathing, and it has been successful on both of those occasions. I don't know if there's been others that I haven't heard about, but on those 2 occasions I know that it has worked. So it shows that actually doing the training does work to make sure that you can do it in real life.
Yeah, I was getting goosebumps when we hear that. That's incredible. It really is. And how do your family feel about this? Because I think also with franchising, is a lot of us do it because we want it to fit around family, but our families become so involved on different levels, don't they? So what do your kids think about what you do?
Yeah, they like it. They don't quite get it. So mine are 5 and 4. So we do talk about it. They know like the Daisy logo, and they know that it's my work and everything. I have done a little bit of first aid with them, which is great because kids are so engaged and enthusiastic when they're learning stuff. And I don't think they necessarily relate it to a real life scenario. So they don't get scared. They don't, they're just very engaged with it. but they love that I go, because I go into schools and I teach children from as young as reception. So I will say to Rory, I was with the reception class this week, and he loves that I've gone into a school and I've taught the children something. Yeah.
It's really nice. And then my kids were very similar, that they had this like pride that that's what mum did. And when I sold my last franchise territory, they were so cross with me. They were really, really cross, because that's all they'd ever known that I did. Like, they didn't know me before. And it was really interesting to see how much they had absorbed the franchise as well as me living with
and
it.
There's a lot of kit, isn't there? So around the house there are various mannequins and bits and bats, so they could just get used to them being around, I guess.
Baby mannequin heads in the dishwasher getting cleaned. Very normal in our house too. Yeah, it's lovely. Before you came across Nick selling her franchise, did you know anything about franchising?
Not a huge amount, to be honest. I'd seen, because I'd done a few baby groups in the area, so I'd kind of seen that they were franchises, but I didn't really know how it would work, especially on kind of this smaller scale of being like very much like mums in business. I know that I connect now with quite a lot of other franchisees of other businesses in my area, which is really good. But yeah, I didn't realize quite how it would work for me in this situation, you know.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it? What's been the toughest thing about being a franchisee?
That's a really hard question, because I feel like I love being a franchisee, because especially at Daisy, Jenny's not very restrictive with things. When I first started, I remember sort of sending social media posts off and things to head office. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't think I need to, I'm pestering them a lot here, because I'm quite active on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, as long as it's, promoting the brand, I'm not going to be doing anything that's going to be negative to the brand. I'm going to go for it. And everyone's been really supportive in that respect. Whereas I know that some other franchisees are a bit more restricted in what they can post. And I think I would have found that difficult, because I really feel that I like to be present on social media. I very much like to feel that I'm in the community and it's, it's me and it's real. And so I think I would have found that really difficult, but I don't have that with Daisy. Yeah, I don't know what's been really tough. I've enjoyed it, and I love working with the other franchisees as well. Like, it's really nice to have a network of other people in the same position that your boss or you like all colleagues. It's lovely.
Yeah. It's a very supportive way to start a business, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I wasn't quite sure how that would work either, because obviously you are given your territory. So I guess it does eliminate a lot of that, because you're not competing against each other. But I didn't realise there'd be quite so much support from other people. I've got relationships with quite a few of the Daisies now where I could just drop them a text and say, have you found this, or have you tried that? And I know we've got a Facebook group where people will put questions on and say, has anyone tried to do this? And everyone will give really honest answers and be like, yeah, it worked really well, or no, stay clear, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's nice to get that feedback from somebody that understands what you're trying to achieve and, where you're going with it. Because you can talk to your family, but ultimately, if they're not involved in what you're doing day to day, they don't always quite get what you're trying to get, Yeah.
I found that bit quite hard, actually, as a franchisee. Like, trying to talk, and people will ask you really enthusiastically, like, how's your business going? Like, yeah, this. Oh, well, I know such and such, and you could go and train over there in Balham. Like, no, I can't, because I'm not allowed to work.
Yeah.
Oh, like they didn't have that understanding. That was always a bit difficult. It's like, I'm not trying to be like restrictive. It's just that that's how I have to work.
Yeah. But to be honest, like me especially, I've actually got 4 territories now. I've just got my 4th. Yeah. So I've got 4 territories. So there isn't really anybody too close to me where it's been an issue, because I've dominated my area. So it's not been a problem for me. But I guess for some of them, I think some of the southern Daisies are a bit closer together. So they might have a bit of passing to and from.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm just outside of London, but one of my territories was right on the edge of it. And it's so saturated there, because like literally like 2 roads over, somebody else owns that territory. And that can be a bit tough, but you're good where you are, because you have just got quite an expansive territory up there, haven't you? So that's all good. I like it. What's your favourite thing about being a franchisee?
I think I actually answered this when I was meant to be saying all my not good things. My favourite thing is having the support, having the community of women there that all get it. Most of them have children. Yeah, I think that going to things like the baby show that I did a couple of weekends ago and just catching up with the other daisies and sharing ideas, and yeah, that's really, really good. I also like that I'm not too restricted. It feels like my business. It is my business, and it feels like I can make the choices, which is nice, because you don't want to be asking for permission to do every little thing. So
I think
yeah.
that's where a lot of people really struggle with the concept of franchising, because they assume that if they are a franchisee, that they're suddenly under chains. I remember speaking to quite a big business influencer on social media, and he was very much, start your own business, and it was really interesting to chat with him and just say, well, actually, franchising is a great option because it's not all about being completely restricted. And we had a really healthy debate about the benefits of franchising versus the benefits of starting your own business. I said, look, I think there's a really bad perception that actually you buy a business in and you're locked in chains and you can only do certain things. But actually, I think where franchises are particularly well run, it's not like that at all. It's yours. You make the decisions. You decide who you're going to work with, what you want to do, how you want to market it. The profit's yours.
Yeah.
I think I'd love more people to understand that about becoming a franchisee.
Yeah, and just the brand awareness that exists when you become a franchise, because they're already out there, like, especially for Daisy, it's already a recognised brand. Doing things like the baby show or other partnership opportunities that we have is really, really good. And you'd maybe struggle to get that if you were a one-person band. So yeah, that's definitely a good thing.
Definitely. Tell us a little bit more about social media, because you're brilliant at it. And absolutely, please, if you listen to this, go and follow Faye on social. She's brilliant. We'll drop the links in the show notes. But you're so brilliant that we put you forward to take over some of our social media for head office. And you now do the Daisy First Aid TikTok account, which I was absolutely thrilled about because you're just so on it. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
Yeah, so I actually got into social media when I had my eldest, Alfie. It was the start of lockdown, and I made an account called the Lockdown Baby. It doesn't exist anymore. I've only recently got rid of it, actually. But yeah, it was the Lockdown Baby, and I started growing quite quickly on there. And all I was doing was posting about my journey of being a mum in lockdown. It was my first baby. There was nothing else going on in the world. We were locked at home, and I just started posting. I got quite into it. So when I took over Daisy, I wanted to do that again, really, and to kind of share about me. And I wanted it to be real and authentic, and me be a mum in business, running these classes to help other parents, really. So I started doing that, and straight away all the other Daisies kept saying, your social media is really good. We need some tips. So I've just carried on doing what I was doing, but I haven't actually got a social media background as such, and I haven't done any qualification courses. And then obviously I've ended up doing the TikTok, which is great. TikTok is a little bit different for me. It's a bit more out of my comfort zone. It's very different to Instagram, I have found. It seems to be a bit more hostile somehow than Instagram. Instagram's very supportive, and I found TikTok can be a little bit more challenging. I don't know if it's because you don't have to be friends with people, anyone can see your videos and they can post, and but it just seems to be a little bit more argumentative. So I'm still adjusting to that, because I do struggle a little bit with criticism. So if I get any awkward comments, that can be a bit difficult, but it's good. And again, it's nice to challenge myself. I'm enjoying doing it, and what I try to post is a bit of a mix of important first aid stuff for parents to know about, but also a bit about mum life and owning your own business and being a mum in business as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice blend, actually, of what we created there for the Daisy TikTok. And I was so thrilled that you took it over. I didn't have to keep posting.
No, yeah.
From a creation point of view, I think also, if you're the one who's doing the creation, again, I think this is a lesson for franchisors here, really, because I think where we've been a bit more proactive with Daisy First Aid is me and Jenny took a real conversation and said, we don't want to be the face. We want our franchisees. We're really proud of our franchisees. We want them to be the face of it. So we assembled a little Avengers task force, and you were in that very deliberately. But to actually give that franchisee control in terms of the head office account, for us, it meant that we were able to be authentic and post what people wanted to hear about and what you were doing every day, because me and Jenny weren't teaching anymore. So it's really difficult to, put on the hoodie and kind of get the mannequins out, because we're not in it. We're not getting those questions that are coming up for you. And I think what you do a really good job of is can then kind of take an experience like buzzing from a class and turn that into, not deliberately like I'm going to craft the social media content, but it's just genuine what comes out. I think that's what shows for me.
Yeah. And I do try to kind of keep it at the forefront of my mind, because one thing that I do struggle with social media is you can spend a day creating stuff and then you post it and it's gone and you're like, oh, I've got to do it all again. So I just try to, when I have a moment like that and I can feel that I'm buzzing about it, that I just do it there and then and just take it and post it, rather than spending loads of time, kind of carefully putting stuff together. It probably means that sometimes they are a bit messier than if I'd sat and done it all and made it perfect, but it is real, and hopefully you can see the emotion there and how much it means to us trainers if a customer has really enjoyed the session or taken a lot from it. That is the whole point of why we do it. Obviously, yes, we want to make some money, but we've all picked to do this job for a reason, and it's because we all genuinely care that we're making a difference to people.
Yeah, I think that really does come across, actually. It's a lot warmer than me sat in a studio telling you about meningitis. It's just a very different feel. And I think that particularly now, as everyone's fearing AI and the perfectionism and things like that, I think actually that sometimes they aren't absolutely perfect. I mean, no one notices, but I think that the authenticity is so much more important than the perfection.
Yeah. Yeah. A few of the other daisies have reached out to me and said, oh, can you help me? And I'm like, right, you just need to get on a camera. You just need to get in front of the camera. And they're like, do we have to do that straight away? Yes, you do. They want to see you.
Absolutely. And we've said this for a long time in Daisy, it's present, not perfect. Just be on, just do it. Because once you've done it a few times and you've trained your brain that it's safe and the tiger's not going to jump out and eat you, then actually you stop thinking about it. It just becomes normal, doesn't it? So yeah, I get that. I love it. If there was one thing you could do about fear of failure, what would you do?
I've been dreading this question because there's so many things that I could answer to that question. But I actually think it's something that I've wanted to do since I was probably a child. I would love to write a book. That is something that I would love to do, but I have no idea where to start, and I now have no idea what I'd write a book on.
I like that though.
But maybe at some point, watch this space.
You should definitely write a book. Definitely. You could do it on like your experiences as like mum and trainer. You could do it around anything. I did a chapter in a book years and years in lockdown actually, and it was why adversary is really important in being a business owner, and why the adversary in my life, which had been awful around that time, had really made what I became as a kind of entrepreneur. So you can write about most things.
I mean, Nicole did the children's first aid books, hasn't she? She's done a great job with those. And I'm like, oh, if another Daisy can do it, I can do a book. So yeah, hopefully I'll push myself into it at some point. But it's just a fear of starting, isn't it? It's fear of starting.
I think with a book as well, it's that intimidation of like it's a lot of words to fill. Like when you do a video and you're a bit intimidated, but like you're like me, like you'll open your mouth and some words will come out and it will all make sense and it'll be fine. It's a book times like 40,000 of those words, like for a small book.
Yeah.
It's intimidating. I get that. I'd love you to write a book though. I'd read it for sure.
Okay, I might hold you to that. Like, this is my book and I've got one person to read it.
Oh, you should. Well, also, I think the other thing about being a franchisee in that situation, like, so one of our other lovely franchisees, Nicole Barnard, who is Daisy First Aid in and around Leicester, she's written a whole series of children's first aid books, and she's illustrated them herself. They're beautiful. Like, go and find them on the internet. But for her, like, she had that idea for a long time, and then just needed the push to just do the first one. And now she's got a whole series. So I think once you get going, there'll be no stopping you.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, at some point I will. I've said it now, so I've got to.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've said it. It's on here. It's documented. The listeners have heard you. Look out for Faye's first book sometime in the future. Amazing. Faye, anyone listening to this, how can they find you?
So probably on social media is the best place to find me, but you can also go to daisyfirstaid.com and I'm on there as well. On social media, I'm Daisy First Aid Leads on most things. So yeah, reach out to me. Come and watch my videos.
Don't just watch Faye's videos, go and like them and share them for her because they really are brilliant.
Thank you.
Faye, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I loved having you at the awards last year as well. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Brilliant. And that's it for this week. We'll see you on the next one. Before we finish up today, I'd love to just thank our podcast sponsors, Book When and Make Your Mark Podcast Agency, without whom this episode wouldn't have been possible. You can find more information on both amazing companies in the show notes. If you've enjoyed listening to today's episode, please also make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and I would absolutely love it if you left a review too. See you next time.